I want to spend a few moments talking about how I grade your essays and what options you have for revising and perhaps getting better scores if you're struggling with getting all the points that you can on the essay assignments that I have. I teach adjunct at a lot of institutions, so sometimes I'm working at 3 different colleges, sometimes 4, and sometimes even 5. So um, that's quite a bit. And at some colleges, I'll have 4 classes, sometimes 3, sometimes 2, sometimes even 1. It's not a overwhelming load, but it can very easily be a lot. And so as a writing instructor, when I start off with maybe 250 papers to grade for a certain week, uh, that's a lot. And I've developed some strategies that I think help all of us, and I want to talk about those. So one side note here, and you'll see how this works in a bit, how it applies. I teach, in the summers, I usually don't have a lot of teaching opportunity in the summers, but I do work for the Education Testing System, ETS, and they own College Board and the AP exam system, whatever. And I for the last maybe 14, 15 years, I've been grading in the summers for about 10 days, 12 days. I'll grade the advanced placement English language essays. Now, when I say I'm saying me and like 800 other teachers. So they fly us all down into a convention center and we sit and we grade. Or sometimes we do it online. Like during the COVID pandemic, we did it online. But so I've been trained to really read short essays quickly and to do holistic scoring on them. And I want to talk about that because that has really revolutionized how I can survive all of this. It's overwhelming sometimes when you have all this grading and you don't know how to handle it. It can be a very fast track to burnout. So one of the strategies is just to embrace the benefits of holistic grading. So what that means for me is that I tend to almost always keep the whole points of my class around 100 so that the essays don't have to have a lot of points attached to them to be meaningful. So for example, if an essay is worth 10 points, that's 1/10 of the grade, right? So that's a meaningful assignment. But it helps me because if I have to score your work on a scale from 1 to 10, I can very easily kind of say, hey, it's a 7, it's an 8, it's a 9, or it's a 10, it's a 5. That's easy to see when the point spread is like that. And that's one reason my essays have low point values. But if I had an essay that was worth 100 points, and I were to give one an 85 and another one an 87, I would have to justify that 2-point difference, which means that my rubric or the tools or the metrics I use to evaluate points and all that I would award to a paper has to be very complicated. Has to accommodate all of that, those 100 points of points, if you will, 100 places of points. And at that point, the rubric starts working against effective teaching of writing because it gets too complicated. And the analysis that I do on the paper then gets too complicated, too lengthy, too convoluted, and it's not really something you might be asking for, and it's not healthy for me, it's not healthy for you, for me to be able to pick apart something at that level. And for first, I don't even know if I'm right, picking it apart that way. You're assuming that I'm a good assessor of writing, which I suppose is a warranted assumption, but it's a great possibility that I'm actually not on track with what I think that paragraph should say or whatnot, right? So that really extends all the grading time, and it gives you feedback that maybe works against you in terms of your attitude or your courage with writing, things like that. So what I would much rather do is just kind of work on manageable scales like 1 to 10, and to be able to look at that and say, hey, this is an 8, this is a 9, or this is a 10, your essay. And then I give that initial score to you Okay, so all you will receive after that first essay or whatnot, or after the first submission of some writing, is the score, and it's actually part of your grade. Okay, but please understand that I am more than happy to give feedback and to talk to you about your writing and to say, hey, here's what I thought, here's how I think it can be better if you want to do that. And I'm waiting for you, though, to identify yourselves that you actually want that. And so the way that that happens is if I don't give that feedback right away and I wait for you to ask for it, that helps me identify you, and I know you want that at that point, and I'll be happy to provide feedback. So at that point, you can call me, text me, or send me an email. And if you send me an email, I would appreciate it if you just copy and pasted the essay into your email. Don't worry about how it looks. Just get it in there. And then tell me, hey, Dr. Horn, I got an 8 out of 10 on this essay. Can you give me some feedback as to how to make it better? And what I will do then is I'll record 1, 2, 3 minutes of a voice message, a voice file. I'll attach that voice file to your email and return it to you. So when you reopen it, you get to see your essay, and there's that file that you can play, and then you can just play it over and over again as you try to make sense of what I'm saying with the essay right in front of you. I think that's really the best way. But you can also, call me. We can have a Zoom or a video stream session if you want. If we are meeting as a LAN class every now and then, or if we're scheduled for that, I'll be there in the classroom, and you can bring your work in, and we can talk about it there if you want a face-to-face meeting. All of those things are fine. All right, but please understand that initially you're not going to get any feedback, but that does not mean that I don't want to give it to you. I'm just waiting to see which students actually want to revise, want to recoup those points if they're missing points. So I'm waiting for you to identify yourselves by reaching out to me, and then we can work together. And then, I'll tell you, hey, here's how I would fix it, and then you get to revise the essay, and then we submit it. I'll regrade it. You get a new grade. It's going to be a brand new grade. I'm not going to average anything. So you can really bump that grade up. And if you have to do that a couple times until you're happy with the grade, I'll work with you on that as well. So for every essay, you can revise as many times as you want to in this way. But some of you might just be okay with whatever grade you get, and you're going to be fine, and you don't necessarily want to reach out, or you don't want to revise anything. This is after that first score that you get back. And at that point, please don't feel bad for not reaching out. I actually need you to not reach out, so I'm not overwhelmed. And then just keep on rolling. If you don't need to revise something, don't feel like you have to check with me if that's okay and all that. You can revise anything as many times as you want, but there is no revision that is required. So you might end up not revising anything. And I kind of feel like when I put the ball in play like that, and you have some choice as to how you want to receive that and do with that, it kind of works better for everyone. All right, so that is how I do the grading, and I hope that you understand and can work with me on that. Thank you.